Welcome once again to Sally Melodies classroom, where we have been learning basic music. We are still on staff notation and this is our lesson 2. I thought it is good we touch on a few things so that we get the concept. Now, there are two types of scores. We all know what a score is. A score is a piece of music. A score looks like this. If you watch closely, you can see what we mean by a score. This is what we use to sing, to interpret, to play the music on the piano, and to train our choirs. This is what we call a score. A piece of music that has been put into notation. So, there are two types of scores that you will come across when you are training or when you are singing. So the first one is an open score. What do we mean? An open score is whereby every voice or each voice is written on its own staff. If you have two voices singing, or 3 or 4, or even more, each voice is independent on its own staff. It is written on its own staff. Then the opposite of open is closed. So we have, number 2, we have closed score. Two voices are sharing the same staff. Two voices are sharing the same staff. I believe that one is well explained. And down here, we have an illustration. So this is an open score. So we are assuming this piece of music has 4 voices. So remember, the highest female voice is soprano, alto, tenor, and then we have bass. This is just an example. We even have pieces of music where we have soprano 1, soprano 2, alto 1, alto 2. So it will depend on the type of music. But I have used the music that we use in our churches and music that is common when we are doing choral music. So the highest female voice is soprano, the lowest female voice is alto. The highest male voice is tenor, the lowest male voice is bass. The sopranos are using this staff, the altos are using staff 2, the tenors are using staff 3, and the basses are using staff 4. That is what we call an open score. Every voice is independent on its own staff. And then we come and look at a closed score. A closed score, we said, two voices are sharing one staff. Here, we are assuming that this first staff, we have sopranos and altos sharing the first staff. And then down here, we have tenors and basses sharing this staff, and they are using this clef. Remember here, the tenors were using the third staff with a treble clef, but down here there is an 8, meaning they are doing soprano notes but on a lower octave. They are doing the same notes with sopranos but on a lower octave. So that is how we write when we are doing an open score. Ensure that on the treble clef where the tenors are singing, down there you must put an 8, so that when they are singing, at least they will be an octave lower. And then the basses always use the bass clef or the F clef. So when we come here, we try to fix our tenors up here. So the lower voice comes here, and then remember on this closed score, the higher voice or the upper voice, the stems will face up. When we come to the lower voice, the stems will face down. So this is soprano, the stems are up, alto, the stems are down. Tenors, the stems are up, Basses, the stems are down, unless they are doing the same note, the unison. There is somewhere they are doing the unison. But as long as there is a harmony, they have separated voices, parts that are singing. The stems for the higher voice must go up, and then the stem for the lower voice must go down. Even when they are sharing, this one the stem will go down, and this one the stem will go up. We are going to look at all these things when we start doing our melody writing, composing, and all those other things. But before we go there, it is always good to know those steps of notation. 3 voices are singing. So these 2 voices here, they are sharing the same stuff. And this voice 3 is using the bass stuff. This is now what we call an open score. As you can see, every voice is independent on its own stuff. So when you are writing on an open score, you ensure that you give each voice its own independent stuff. Now, we all have different tastes and preferences. It's either this or this. Each of them is correct. It depends on the composer. It depends on you. What do you want to use? If you want to use a closed score, a closed score or an open score, it is up to you, because we have freedom of composing and doing our projects. But again, everything has got an advantage and disadvantage. The closed score, sometimes it is simpler, especially for those who are doing the piano, because you just look at the notes vertically. And again, for the closed score, if the notes are too squeezed, maybe you might end up singing the wrong notes if you don't look closely. Maybe a note is on the line and you are singing the note that is on the space, unlike this one that is independent. So everything has got its own advantage and disadvantage. So thank you very much for joining this class. See you in the next class.